Good morning, everyone. I'm a college student in China, and this video is about a bet that I made with one of my friends, that I were trying to make some videos to introduce some Chinese books to the world. So I were trying to do this. The first time I was trying to introduce this book is the book's name is the Great Change. 50 years of Reformation of the late Qing Dynasty. It currently has no English variants yet, but I think you can get the main ideas here from this video. So it's my first time. I may make lots of mistakes. Please be skeptical of what I have said, and I will try to revise them in time. I personally really now love this book. So this book talks about the Reformation of the Qing Dynasty, after the First Opium War. So this is the first time that China has been forced to open gate for the outside world. From 1840s to 1895, we have almost 55 years of time to do the Reformation, but we failed from time to time. So this book talks about all the basic questions. Why the Reformation is so hard? Why? What did we do? What did we not do? Did the lawmakers really do not know about the outside world? Why couldn't we speed up the Reformation? Why had we failed at the First Sino-Japanese War? So these are all these kind of questions that I have been very interested in, and this book gave me answers for this. So in conclusion, we did a few bunches of tryings to keep the invaders out during that time. Like we buy in strong warships from UK and Germany, build modern enterprises to manufacture weapons. A bunch of efforts were made, but there are not enough energy was convened to cope with the quickly changing outside world. That's why we failed. So when you are seeing the whole world, since 1776, James Watt made fundamental changes to the steam engine, and after 70 years of constantly developing and innovation, the UK is now invading and changing the rest of the world at that time. So from the 1840s, there was actually only 60 years of time for the Chinese Empire to change, while the second industrial revolution happened in the meantime. So after the death of a few key competitors, Cixi, the first rank ruler of China at that time, kicked Yixin out of the central cabinet, who is the last main competitor of Cixi, and who was also the main advocate for the Western efforts movement. This movement is a reformation that trying to learn from the Western world to save Qing Dynasty. Cixi then replaced these cabinets with other lobbies that she could control. So while most of them are very conservative, so during later 20 years, the Reformation stagnated, with no other movement about the education system, logistics systems, and the bureaucracy reformation. There is no other reformations here, no other further and deeper reformations here that we just stagnated in these 20 years. So an astonishing fact is that there was still no telegraph and railway station built in any parts of China in 1895. While in the world, the first transcontinental railroad of United States was finished in 1869 in less than 6 years. That's really quick. And only a few lawmakers have been to abroad by themselves. I think there's less than 500 of them. Well, there were more than 400 million people in China. There are more than 400 million people living in China. So it's really a ratio that you cannot imagine. Very few people go into abroad. And Qing Dynasty rulers were quite complacent about the achievement they had made during the previous Reformation. They thought they already had a strong army to protect them, while the rest of the world was advancing radically. This is the most fast-changing world at the time. So there are actually only a few chances for Cixi to lose and a very tight time. But people only begin to learn when they fall into their lowest point. For a country, it will mean inner disaster or a series of defeat in a war. In 1895, after 10 years of preparation, Japan invaded China and destroyed all its navy and the ground armies. In the ground war, though China has twice the number of forces in Japan and a far shorter supply chain, because we are fighting our own country, the Chinese army cannot rapidly assemble to concentrate their forces to defense and attack to do this kind of operations. So we finally lose everything. A peace treaty was finally made, and with huge amounts of war indemnity. The previous Reformation was proven to be lasting. So now, if you see these changes beyond these countries, you will find the most difficult part of the Reformation is the lack of information. Is the lack of the information technology, because it's really hard to change one person's mind. As a matter of fact, we can see that at that time, most of the Chinese do not have direct contact with the foreigners, most of them. And most of the Chinese do not have the ability to read by themselves. And most of the Chinese do not go beyond 60 miles from his hometown in their whole life. And so the telegraph and the railway stations were not built in any part of China, as the Chinese nobles do not know how to use them and were very afraid of the foreigners to control them. The intellectual readings were mostly about the 4 books and 5 classics, which were the ancient classics taught to be absolute right, without any inquiries, repeat from time to time in the past 2,000 years. The imperial examination system still holds tightly, and almost all the Chinese intellectuals spent more than half of their lifetime on this examination, which they are supported by all the relative screens. So you need to use your whole family's resources to support you to participate in this kind of game, mostly they are on the they are doing some rice works. They are hoping to get into this political power, and through this really hard tunnel. And it's really hard for them to give up on this. So, in summary, people in China were still surrounded by and raised up by their old and trustful elders and kinfolks. They did not actually face the outside world. They did not ever have good ways to know about the outside world. They only face people only change when they have face-to-face new real-life experience. That it can change one's mind. You need to really experience it. So that's why the people don't know the outside. So what interesting part is that among all the old stubborn nobles who strongly fought against the Reformation, Once they were chosen to participate in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Qing Dynasty, they began to change their mind and became strong supporters for the Reformations. So, what they finally saw and forced to do in the crisis really changed themselves. That's all the content of the book is in here. I have another question that I think is very interesting. So why can't we build up warships at that time? What kind of technology do we have in the late Qing Dynasty? So I found we can dig into this question from these two problems. The steel production and the ability to produce soda. That we can't, there is a fact that we can't effectively produce them in large quantities at that time. So apart from the scrap iron used by the ordinary blacksmith shops, the entire Qing Empire did not have a large quantity of massive produced steels that are suitable for forging iron-clad ships, nor did it have adequate supply of industrial soda, as it is high technology of modern chemistry at that time. And Qing's economic and social systems did not have other supporting systems to naturally make these ideas to happen. To build the complete system, a richer and well-developed domestic market is required to sustain themselves, or they will be very expensive and it will vanish very soon. All in all, we failed all the time, but things got changed when you finally made all these mistakes. People's mind were changed through the failures. A lot when they first met them, a lot when the first or second paid for them. Not when they first met them, but when they first or second paid for them. Sorry for the mistake. Then after this, we began to start to learn from others, to build telegraph and railway stations throughout the country, reflecting on our ancestors' ideas, to get the good ideas out and to abandon the bad things out. And constantly we do hard reformations by ourselves, eagerly or reluctantly, sometimes too radical, and sometimes we may fall back by our own outcomes. We debate with ourselves, and we finally are moving from little to little. And we are hope you guys enjoy this, and I will trying to revise my ideas over time and adding more references, and hope you guys can do your research on this selves. Thanks very much.